everyone. Welcome back for another deep dive.
Yes, welcome back.
This time, we're going to be diving deep into the concept of going the extra mile. We're going to be looking at it through the lens of Napoleon Hill's Keys to Success, specifically some audio excerpts that we have.
Oh, great.
So are you ready to jump in and see what we can discover about this idea?
Yes, I'm very curious to see what Napoleon Hill has to say about going the extra mile.
Well, let's get right into it. So
Yeah.
right off the bat, Hill kind of sets the stage.
Yeah,
He says that, a lot of people think about going the extra mile as just working harder or longer hours, but he's really emphasizing that it's more about a mindset. It's about this attitude of service,
right.
and that's what really fuels that lasting success, right? It's not just about putting in the time, it's about the why behind it.
Yes, and I think that's an important distinction to make because so much of the conversation around going the extra mile is about doing more, doing more, doing more.
Yeah.
But Hill is really focusing on the motivation behind those actions.
So how does he explain that then? How do we tap into that service-oriented mindset? It sounds a little, I don't know, a little bit abstract.
Yeah, it does. And Hill actually uses a really interesting analogy to explain this.
Okay.
He talks about a farmer planting wheat, and he says that each seed that the farmer plants represents an act of service that we do in our lives.
Okay.
And just like a seed multiplies to give you a whole field of wheat,
Right.
he says each act of service that we do with that right mindset can also multiply into bigger and bigger rewards.
Oh, interesting.
But here's the catch.
Okay.
He says you have to plant those seeds in the right place.
Oh, so there's a strategy to it?
Exactly. He calls this fertile ground.
Okay.
And that fertile ground, he says, is a positive mental attitude.
Ah.
Without that positive mental attitude, without that right mindset, your efforts, even the really good ones, even if you are working hard and putting in the time, they might not actually lead to the results that you're hoping for.
So it's like you're putting in all this effort, you're going above and beyond, but if it's not coming from the right place, it's like you're planting those seeds in, I don't know, in the desert or something. They're not gonna flourish.
That's a great way to put it. It's about aligning your actions with the right mindset.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you really start to see those amazing results that Hill talks about.
Makes you wonder then about, companies that are known for going above and beyond for their customers. Are they intentionally cultivating that fertile ground within their organizations?
That's a great question, and a perfect example is Nordstrom.
Oh, yeah.
They're legendary for their customer service, but I bet you haven't even heard about just how far they're willing to go to make their customers happy.
I mean, I've heard the stories like accepting returns years later and, bending over backwards to find that one specific item.
It's true.
But how does that even make business sense? Isn't that just setting them up for people to, take advantage of them?
It does seem counterintuitive. Right?
Yeah.
But the source material actually gives some amazing examples that really highlight Nordstrom's philosophy.
Okay.
Like sales associates calling other stores across the country just to find one specific item for a customer. Or there's even a story of an employee who sent a Mother's Day card to a customer because they had mentioned that they had forgotten.
Wow.
I know, right?
That's above and beyond.
It is.
And you're right. I mean, it does seem like it could be a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Like you're just kind of opening yourself up to being taken advantage of.
Right, and Nordstrom understands that. They know that this crazy level of service
Right.
might mean a few people might take advantage of it, but they see it as a much bigger picture. They see it as an investment.
An investment in what, though? I mean, aside from maybe a few viral tweets about their awesome customer service, how's that really paying off for them in the long run?
They're investing in customer loyalty,
Okay.
and it's paying off big time.
Right.
Even when the economy is struggling, they're still growing as a company. They've built this reputation that can withstand any kind of economic downturn, and it's all because they're willing to go above and beyond, even if it means losing a little bit here and there.
So they're playing the long game.
Exactly.
They know that a few returns here and there or, sending a Mother's Day card is a small price to pay to create a brand that people trust and keep coming back to.
And they know people will tell their friends about these incredible experiences.
Yeah, word of mouth is powerful.
It is.
So it's like they're planting those seeds like we were talking about earlier
Yes.
in that fertile ground of customer loyalty. And it's just multiplying their success over time.
Exactly. And this long game approach that Nordstrom has is actually a perfect example of what Napoleon Hill calls the law of increasing returns.
Oh, okay. What's that?
He basically says that Consistent high-quality service doesn't just get you a normal return on your investment.
Okay.
It actually creates a ripple effect that leads to exponentially bigger rewards over time.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's not just about doing good things. It's about doing them consistently and letting that momentum build and build and
So
build.
you're creating a snowball effect almost.
You could say that, yeah.
Hmm.
And this reminds me of another great story that Napoleon Hill tells to illustrate this point.
Oh, what is it?
It's the story about a department store clerk in Philadelphia.
Okay.
And this clerk, he saw an elderly woman standing outside the store waiting for the rain to stop.
Okay.
And he went out and offered her a chair,
Okay. Simple act of kindness.
right?
Being helpful, being polite.
Exactly. But it turns out that this simple act actually had huge implications
Oh, wow.
because the woman that he offered the chair to was actually Andrew Carnegie's mother.
What?
Yeah. And guess who got the very lucrative contract to furnish her entire castle?
I'm guessing the clerk.
You got it.
Wow. Talk about being in the right place at the right time.
Right. But it's more than just luck, I think.
Yeah.
This story really speaks to that deeper principle that Hill is highlighting.
Okay.
It wasn't just a random act of kindness. It was a demonstration of genuine care and attentiveness. And sometimes those small acts of service can open doors to opportunities that we never even imagined.
It's like you're setting the stage for those lucky breaks to happen.
Right.
It's not just about, hoping that something good will come your way. It's about actively creating those opportunities.
It's about putting that positive mental attitude into action.
Right. And it makes me think about this idea of, making yourself indispensable, becoming that person that everyone relies on, kind of like in that story Hill tells about the guy at the talent agency.
Oh, yes. I love that story.
He was like the only one willing to put up with this like high maintenance actress.
Right. He was the only one who would listen to all of her complaints for hours on end.
Oh, gosh.
And he was also the only one who could calm her down when she would have these meltdowns on set, which ended up saving the production millions of dollars.
It's amazing how, just being willing to do what other people aren't makes you so valuable.
It makes you indispensable. And it reminds me of another great example Hill gives about
Yeah.
a Marshall Field's window display.
Okay.
The window display was filled with all these beautiful ties, but in the middle of the display, they placed a large mirror.
Okay. Why?
So, when people would stop to admire the ties in the window, they would see their own reflection in the mirror,
Right.
making the ties they were currently wearing look dull in comparison.
Oh, clever. So it's like they created this contrast that made their ties seem even more appealing.
Exactly. It's a subtle but really effective way to highlight what makes your product or your service stand out.
And in the case of the guy at the talent agency, it was like everyone else was avoiding this actress, but he saw it as an opportunity to provide this unique service, which was, essentially managing her tantrums.
Exactly. And by going the extra mile, by being willing to do what others weren't,
Right.
he created that favorable contrast that made him incredibly valuable to the production.
So it's like you're not just doing good work, you're doing it in a way that's different,
Right.
in a way that makes you stand out from the crowd.
And it's about understanding what people truly value
Right.
and finding a way to deliver that value in a way that nobody else is doing.
And Hill also talks about how going the extra mile isn't just about the external rewards, it's also about the internal growth and self-improvement that comes with it.
That's a really important point.
Right. He says it helps you develop your skills, become more disciplined, and build your confidence.
And the best part is, Hill is a living example of this.
How so?
Remember, he spent 20 years without pay working on organizing and publishing his principles of success.
Oh, wow. That's dedication.
It is incredible. He faced tons of criticism and rejection along the way,
Oh, I'm sure.
but his belief in his work
Right.
and his willingness to just keep going, to keep pushing forward, that's what ultimately led to his success.
And it's a good reminder that, going the extra mile isn't just about getting ahead. It's about becoming the best version of yourself.
Absolutely.
And speaking of inspiring stories, we have the incredible story of Amy Hilliard-Jones.
Oh, yeah.
She was working at Gillette, and she took this failing product, this White Rain shampoo,
Right.
and through sheer initiative, she turned it into a top seller for the company.
It's an amazing story. She was just an entry-level marketing assistant at the time.
Really?
Yeah, but she saw the potential of this product
Great.
that everyone else had kind of given up on.
Hmm.
And she just took it upon herself to figure out a way to make it a success.
It's so cool how, like, sometimes just one person's initiative can make such a huge difference.
And that's not even the best part.
Oh, there's more.
After her success with White Rain, she was then put in charge of relaunching another brand.
Okay.
And guess what?
She crushed it.
She crushed it.
She's obviously someone who understands the power of going the extra mile. It makes you wonder, though, like, did her success come from working within the system, or did she have to kind of break the mold to get those results?
That's such a great question. And what's really interesting is that she achieved all of this success within a traditional corporate structure.
Hmm.
She didn't have to go off and start her own company or anything.
Okay.
It just shows that initiative and that willingness to go above and beyond are valued in any type of work environment.
That's a really important point. It's not just about, being an entrepreneur or working for yourself.
Right.
You can create incredible value and achieve amazing things within any kind of structure
Exactly.
as long as you're willing to put in that extra effort and you
Yeah.
have that positive mental attitude that we keep talking about.
And Hill actually breaks down what he calls the extra mile formula.
Okay.
He says quality of service plus quantity of service plus mental attitude compensation.
Oh,
And he's not just talking about money here. He's talking about all kinds of rewards that you get from going the extra mile, whether it's financial success or personal satisfaction or recognition from your peers.
So it's really about that holistic sense of fulfillment, right?
Exactly. And that formula makes it clear that going the extra mile is about more than just working hard. It's about the mindset you bring to it.
It all comes back to that positive mental attitude.
Yes.
It's like the fuel that powers everything else.
He gives a whole list of benefits that come with having a positive mental attitude.
Oh, like what?
Things like success, consciousness, good health, financial independence.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. But it can't all be sunshine and roses, can it? Like, what about the flip side? What happens if you have a negative mental attitude?
Well, Hill actually lays out the consequences of having a negative mental attitude pretty clearly.
Oh, I'm a little scared to hear this.
And let me tell you, it's not pretty.
Okay, go on. I'm ready.
He talks about how negativity can lead to things like poverty, illness, fear, and basically a wasted life.
Wow, that's a pretty stark contrast.
It is. He really wants to drive home the point that your mental attitude has a huge impact on every area of your life.
It's like choosing between walking down a sunny path or like a dark, scary alley.
Yeah,
You always have a choice, but one path is definitely going to lead to a better outcome.
absolutely. And that choice is entirely up to us.
So, are you ready to keep exploring this idea of going the extra mile and see what other gems we can uncover in Napoleon Hill's wisdom?
I'm ready. Let's dive in.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. Yeah, it really is about making that choice to focus on the positive. But I think a lot of people struggle with that, especially when things get tough. It's easy to talk about having a positive mental attitude, but how do you actually put that into practice?
Yeah, it can feel a little bit like a vague, self-help kind of thing, like just be positive. But Hill actually gives some concrete steps you can take to actually develop that positive mental attitude, or PMA, like he calls it.
You're absolutely right. He breaks it down in a way that makes it feel much more achievable.
Mm.
And he starts by emphasizing that your mental attitude is something that you have complete control over. It's not about just waiting for good things to happen. It's about choosing how you respond to the things that are already happening in your life.
So instead of feeling like we're victims of circumstance, we can actually choose a different perspective. Does that mean we just, like, ignore the negative stuff?
It's not about ignoring the negative things that are happening around you, but it's about reframing them.
Okay.
Hill talks about seeing challenges as opportunities. He even says that every setback, every obstacle has within it the seed of an equivalent benefit.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's about finding the lesson, the potential for growth, even in the middle of something difficult.
It's like that saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Right, exactly. So it's
Oh.
not about pretending that everything is perfect. It's about looking for the good, even when things are tough.
Exactly. And Hill doesn't stop there. He gives a whole list of practical things you can do to cultivate that PMA.
Okay, like what? Give us some examples.
Well, he talks about the importance of clearly defining your goals and seeking out positive influences and really focusing on your strengths
Okay.
and practicing gratitude.
He even suggests doing one good deed every day
Right.
as a way to keep negativity at bay.
It's like exercising a muscle. The more you practice positivity, the stronger it becomes.
And it sounds like a lot of it comes down to taking ownership, right? I remember Hill saying something like, the space you occupy in this world is an exact ratio to the service you render, plus the mental attitude in which you render it.
That's a great quote, and it highlights that it's not just about what you do, but how you do it.
Right.
Your attitude and your intention make a huge difference.
It's a good reminder to check in with yourself and make sure that your actions are actually aligned with your values and your goals.
Absolutely. And taking ownership can also mean letting go of certain things.
Oh, okay.
Like Hill talks about the importance of breaking free from those self-limiting beliefs that we often hold ourselves back with, and even bad habits. He encourages people to identify and get rid of their vices,
Okay.
seek forgiveness when necessary,
Right.
and even to take a personal inventory of their assets.
That last one is interesting. So it's like instead of dwelling on what you're lacking, you focus on the resources that you already have.
Exactly. And it all connects to another really important point that Hill makes about the difference between wishing, hoping, and truly desiring something.
Okay, that sounds interesting. What's the difference? I mean, aren't they all kind of the same thing?
Hill says that most people just wish for things,
Hmm.
but those wishes are kind of weak and don't have a lot of power behind them.
Okay.
Then you have the people who have desires,
Right.
but those desires might not be strong enough to actually motivate them to take any action.
Okay.
And then there's a smaller group that moves from desire into hope.
Okay.
They start to believe that maybe, just maybe, their goals are actually attainable.
Okay, so I'm seeing a progression here. What about the people who actually achieve their goals? What sets them apart?
Hill says it's their ability to move past hope and into belief.
Okay.
They don't just believe that it's possible.
Right.
They develop this deep conviction that they will achieve their goals.
It's like that unshakable faith that no matter what, they're going to make it happen.
Exactly. And that belief fuels the action that they take.
And these are the people that Hill calls the 2% club, right? Because they represent that tiny percentage of people who actually take the steps to make their dreams a reality.
You got it. And Hill was nice enough to give us 6 specific actions that we can take to join this very exclusive club.
Okay, I'm ready. What are the secrets to joining the 2% club?
He says the first step is to develop the ability to adapt and get along with others.
Okay.
He even suggests observing a dog and its ability to quickly adjust to its owner's moods.
Oh, interesting. So it's about being flexible and like finding ways to harmonize with the people around you.
Exactly.
I never thought about it that way, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
What's next?
Step 2 is to learn to let go of the little things. Don't get caught up in the small stuff or unnecessary drama.
Choose your battles wisely. Focus your energy on what really matters.
That's it.
I like that.
Step 3 is to begin each day by establishing control over your mind and cultivating that positive mental attitude.
So start the day with intention.
Right.
Set the tone for a positive and productive day.
It's almost like a meditation.
Yeah.
Choosing how you want to approach your day.
What's step 4?
Step 4 is all about mastering the art of persuasion and influence.
Okay.
He says, lead by example and inspire others to follow you rather than relying on force or manipulation to get what you want.
Yeah, that resonates with me. It's about building those authentic relationships and earning people's trust and letting your actions speak louder than words.
Absolutely. Step 5 is about finding healthy ways to deal with stress and frustration.
Oh, how do we do that?
Well, he'll actually suggest developing a hearty laugh as a way to release anger.
Oh, I can definitely get behind that one. Laughter really is the best medicine sometimes.
It is. So what's the final step to joining the 2% Club?
Lay it on me.
Step 6 is to analyze your setbacks and learn from your mistakes.
Okay.
Hill reminds us that even failure can teach us valuable lessons and move us forward on the path to success.
So it's about reframing failure as feedback. Don't let setbacks defeat you. Use them as fuel for future success.
It's all about that growth mindset.
And through all of this, it sounds like Hill is really emphasizing that maintaining that positive mental attitude is key.
It's the foundation.
It's the foundation for everything else.
Absolutely.
Okay, it's a lot to process, but it's so empowering. It feels like he's giving us this amazing toolkit for taking control of our lives and creating the future that we want.
He is.
But we've only scratched the surface, haven't we? What else does Hill have in store for us in this deep dive into going the extra mile? We've been talking about Napoleon Hill and his book, Keys to Success, and specifically this concept of going the extra mile. It's more than just, hard work. It's about having that right mindset and then actually putting it into action.
Yeah. There's definitely more to uncover. And Hill actually offers some specific strategies that we can use to really put this into practice. One thing he talks about a lot is this idea of personal initiative.
Oh, yeah.
And he really emphasizes that this is so crucial for success, no matter what field you're in.
He uses the term personal initiative, right?
Yeah. And what's interesting is he actually makes this distinction between personal initiative and just being a go-getter.
Oh.
For Hill, personal initiative is about taking action without being told,
Hmm.
seeing what needs to be done and doing it.
He shares that story about convincing the railroad to build a line into his wife's hometown. I mean, that seemed like an impossible feat, but through persistence and creativity, he made it happen.
It's a perfect example of how Hill himself put personal initiative into action. He saw a problem, and instead of waiting for someone else to fix it, he found a way to solve it, and it ended up benefiting everyone.
And it wasn't just about, being persistent and working hard.
Right.
It was also about having that belief that he could actually make a difference.
That positive mental attitude we keep talking about. And personal initiative can also lead to some really unexpected opportunities.
Mm.
Like, Hill tells a story about this guy who was just an average plumber,
Okay.
but he was really good at spotting talent and managing costs, and he actually ended up starting his own really successful plumbing business.
So you don't have to have all the skills yourself. You can build a team of people with different strengths, and that's how you really create something amazing.
It's great insight. Hill talks a lot about collaboration and the importance of surrounding yourself with people who complement your abilities.
Mm.
And we can't forget Neil Balter, who started California Closets.
Yeah.
He had this idea to transform cluttered closets into these beautiful functional spaces.
Right.
And he turned that idea into a multi-million-dollar business.
It's such a great example of how personal initiative, when combined with a good idea and hard work, can really lead to amazing results.
It makes you think about all the opportunities out there.
Yeah.
If you're just willing to see them and take action. And remember Amy Hilliard-Jones. Her story is another great example of how personal initiative can lead to success, even within a traditional corporate setting. She saw opportunities to improve things at Gillette, and she didn't wait for permission. She just made those changes happen.
It's proof that you can really make an impact and achieve your goals no matter where you are in your career.
Hill actually provides a bit of a framework for putting personal initiative into action.
Okay.
He says you start by figuring out your definite major purpose. Like, what is it that you really want to achieve? And then he says you create a plan, and then the most important part is you take action right now.
So no more procrastinating. Get out there and start making things happen. He also talks about surrounding yourself with positive people and always working to improve your skills and knowledge. It's like he's giving us permission to be lifelong learners.
And he reminds us that, setbacks are inevitable. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to face challenges. But the most important thing is how you respond to those setbacks.
Right.
So analyze those failures, learn from them, and keep moving forward.
It all comes back to that positive mental attitude. It's believing in yourself and your ability to achieve your goals even when things get tough.
And when we can really embrace this philosophy and start putting these principles into practice, I think we tap into this incredible power that can really transform our lives and the lives of those around us.
So to our listeners out there, we ask you, what's one small step that you can take today to go the extra mile in your own life?
How can you shift your perspective to see challenges as opportunities for growth and service?
Napoleon Hill said, "Victory is always possible for the person who refuses to stop fighting."
So embrace that philosophy, cultivate that positive mental attitude, and unleash that power within you to achieve extraordinary results.
Don't forget to check out Napoleon Hill's Keys to Success for yourself. There's so much wisdom and inspiration in those pages.
And until next time, keep diving deep.
Keep going the extra mile.